Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we need to do a very small amount of repairs. In fact, we need this mech to get repaired, which means that the rifleman, this is our backup rifleman, is going to get repaired as well. So we're going to have to tick forward 8 days here. We'll hit our financial report. That is expected. Do we want to start going up to generous? Yes, we're going to do it. So we're going to hop to generous for now. We might hop to extravagant next month. I actually, looking at the price differential, I kind of regret not hopping up to extravagant. Okay, well, let's continue to tick forward here. Brick will be back shortly, and our mechanized storage space is now finished up. So we need another Argo upgrade. What do we want to grab here? Drop information is the cheap one. It is the weather monitoring systems that are very expensive. We could go for training module 3, and I think that's not a terrible thing to do.
Sure thing. It'll take a bit, but
Do it.
we'll get it done.
Let's get that underway. That'll be fine. Now we can tick forward until the Rifleman 4D is done, and Brick will be healed on the same day. So that is looking very, very good. At this point, we need to hop into our barracks and do training.
Yes, Commander.
So let's see here. Brick, okay. Brick is our hoplite pilot. Normally my go-to is Warlord. I kind of think that Warlord is still the way to go here. It's very strong, and I think for an artillery, that's absolutely fine. For almost anyone, that's absolutely fine. For piloting, we can, or rather for Gorgon, we can get a point of piloting. That's fine. Anybody else need training?
Yes, Commander. Commander?
Weasel Cakes could use a point of piloting. That's fine. Okay, so now we're ready to deploy. So let's see what is available. Hopefully, we've had a decent reroll on these. It's been pretty stagnant for a while. Well, there's definitely some new stuff here. This is a defend base in the jungle with decent salvage. It's 4 Steiner versus the planetary government. I mean, tech levels will be low. That's a blackout mission. Okay, we could theoretically do that. Target acquisition here. And this is a recovery. This is the planetary government versus Comstar. Now, Comstar's already unhappy with us. So there is that. We may want to consider running this Comstar recovery mission here, just to boost up opinion with Comstar. That may not be the worst of ideas in the world. We run it for max salvage, and I think we just go as is. We are ready to go now, right? We should swap out Coach for Brick. But otherwise, yes. Yeah, the Rifleman and the Black Knight are underweight. Understood. This Rifleman is still going to be a little underwhelming, I think. Darius thinks it'll be hard. He's probably wrong, and I will see you guys after the loading screen. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's see what we've got here. Definitely getting the Comstar opinion up is, I mean, it's not necessary, to be sure. We could just make enemies of Comstar. That is an option, but I tend to not like to do that. Okay, so we need to... Our visuals aren't going to be all that useful in the fog. Yeah, so this is the primary facility. This is the secondary facility. Oh, and we can drop right over here. In that case, we absolutely do that. We head in here, clear LOS, and then how do we get to the second facility from the first? I mean, we could go up over this way, I suppose. That's pretty roundabout. There's also a way up over here. So there are ways to do this. Okay, let's load on in over here, or rather land over here, and we'll see what we've got for enemies out this way. Okay, where are we? Okay, out over here. Gotcha. So we see an Austral, a Hatchetman, and a Flashman. That's fine. Let's update our sensors. First things first. So we're going to position here, and we see an Orion. We also see a Hussar up this way. And that's also a Steiner unit, so there's definitely 2 Lances. Gotcha. I don't see any turrets, though. Well, for now, that seems reasonably fine. We shouldn't have significant issues here. We can't move into this cover over here, sadly. We'll just position here.
Let's go.
Sprinting our way in. Okay, the hatchetman turns around. That's a Centurion up there. Nothing too scary as of yet. The crossbow, I'm going to head over towards this cover.
Going full throttle.
And that's a Maelstrom. Okay, so that's a Marauder variant. And what weaponry does a Maelstrom have? It's all energy. Okay. So that's probably not the most threatening thing in the world, but it might be fairly threatening. We'll move the Black Knight off this direction, and the Grasshopper is also going to head up this way. That Orion closes in a little bit. That might be in range to backstab with our Centaur, but we're probably going to hit the Hatchetman for that. We'll see. For now, our Trebuchet can head over towards this cover. In fact, it can get into the cover. And we'll just do that for now. And then that Flashman moves up a little bit. Okay, so the Flashman is a little dangerous. No doubt about that. Some of these mechs are.
Yes, Commander.
We're going to need to move up with our Shadowhawk to about here.
Pulling off.
And there we go. And then that Ostel closes in. That Ostel might actually be a really good backstab target for us. We position our Centaur here. We go for the... or even here. We go for the Ostel. And then we hit the Hatchetman with our fire support. And we can probably kill it pretty easily. The Rifleman, I would like to just sprint forward here. We're kind of angling to get into the water with the Rifleman. It will still have some heat issues. Okay. Yeah, that Maelstrom, okay, we can see that it just has a ER PPC, ER large laser, a couple of lasers. Yeah, that's not all that scary.
Got your back.
Okay, so, our Centaur. We have to take this position for the rear arc. But we can get rear arc on this Ostel. Do it. Rear arc on the Ostel, and this is very likely a kill.
Copy that.
It wasn't a kill. We did a lot of damage to it.
Critical hit, lad.
No doubt about that. That was a lot of damage dealt. So we took out most of his weapons, anyway. Okay, they're firing their PPC at our Centaur. That would be from that Marauder up there. I don't mind that. That is absolutely fine. The front armor of this Ostel is reasonably strong. I think the Hatchetman is definitely the choice to attack here. Okay, backing off up over there. Quite a long ways, in fact. That Centurion closes in, fires on our Centaur. It gets one missile. That's not a concern at all. So our next target for this Centaur is probably the Flashman. But for the moment, this'll do. Okay, next up is going to be... We rolled very late in this movement order. Okay. The Flashman is going to be next, and it's going to also fire on the Centaur. It hit 3 medium lasers. Okay. And I presume it moved into the water there. Actually, I'm not sure that's in water, but its heat is building up. Okay, so our crossbow can position here. Now, we have rear arc on this Hussar, but it's really far away. So I think we're better off to fire on the Hatchetman here. There is dense fog, so that makes this difficult to fire on. But I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to start to soften up that Hatchetman. We don't want him to get into melee, of course. And he'll die pretty quick, to be honest. Okay, so he gets to move now. He's got that AC-10. And he positions there and fires on our Centaur. Interesting choice. Not entirely sure what the goal behind that is. Our Hoplite is going to drop artillery probably on this Maelstrom, to be honest. Let's soften that up a little bit. Okay. Reasonable armor reduction there. I like it. Next up, they're going to get to move their Ostel and their Orion. So what's the plan here? Moving forward. And going for a Grasshopper? Okay. They got quite a bit of damage dealt to the Grasshopper there, but honestly, the Grasshopper can give better than it gets in that scenario. Next up is going to be this Austral, and it only has 2 weapons remaining. We destroyed 4 of its 6 weapons, so it's much less threatening. And it backs off a little bit, fires on our Centaur, and just misses. Okay. That's fine. I do not mind that one. So next up is our Trebuchet, and the Trebuchet could position in this cover. That's actually ideal range for this Orion, and I don't necessarily mind transitioning our fire over to the Orion.
All weapons are go!
Okay. So we build up a little bit of instability there, but the important thing is that we only hit the Centaur with the 1 laser. And at this point, now it's going to be our Shadowhawk. I don't really want to position the Shadowhawk here. Maybe we take the Shadowhawk up this way and engage the Hatchetman. Yes. The reason why I want to do this is I don't want to stray shot the Centaur with our machine guns. So we'll do something like this. Just getting some side arc damage into that Hatchetman, softening its armor a little bit. We got a head hit there. Okay, that definitely helps. Okay, so they do have other units up here that we don't know about, I'm pretty sure. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. They should have 1 additional unit that we don't know about.
Commander.
Our rifleman wants to get into the water here. I think we'll just position here for right now, and I do expect this to be a pretty big heat bump. Yeah, that exactly is. Why are we only doing 41 damage here? Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and fire on this Orion. Man, another stray shot medium laser into the Centaur there. I'm trying to avoid that, but it's not going well. We did manage to hit the Orion reasonably well, so that's good. The Grasshopper wants to position in over here.
Rolling.
And we're going to fire probably on this point-blank Orion here. Yes.
Using everything I've got.
We missed the autocannon, unfortunately, but luckily it didn't quite stray shot the Centaur. It was really close. But the Black Knight is going to advance forward. I think we're having some real problems with this fog.
Firm.
Man, another large laser and medium pulse laser over here? Yeah. We're trying not to, but our angle is not great. We did manage to get him bleeding out, but now we can get the Centaur out of here, and I want to get over to this Flashman. Physical weapon attack in the rear arc. I don't think we're going to kill it here, but this is certainly going to be very, very painful for it. Excellent. We did kill it. Absolute one shot. Fantastic. So the Flashman is down. We don't need to worry about that anymore. Next up, phase 21. That's going to be this Hussar. And this thing doesn't have much armor at all. It's just backing off and not utilizing that LBX-10. Okay, that's a second Marauder out there. Noted. So the Centurion moves up, fires on our Centaur, and hits a lot of that, actually. For that range and 6 evasive, that's mildly surprising. So this has been exposed, and that has an SRM ammo in it. That is concerning. Our Hoplite is going to return fire up over this way.
Locked on target.
Not the finest shot in the world. No doubt about that. Okay, next up they get to move 2. That's going to be this Orion as well as this guy up here. So the Orion advances forward, firing at our Black Knight, getting very little done there, to be honest. Okay, and then next is going to be this Marauder here, which we have softened up a little bit. But that's going to back off and fire on our Centaur.
Can't keep it together. I'm going over.
Okay. They're managing to hit quite a lot there, but mostly that hit the dock that we were standing on. And I don't think we actually took any fall damage there. Next up, they're going to get to move their Hatchetman and their Austral. They are consistently moving quite a bit earlier than we are in the round here, and so that means that this Centaur is taking a lot of heat. However, that Ostel just chose not to fire. Even if it had, it probably wouldn't have done too much, but yeah, we'll take it. We'll see what this hatchetman wants to do here. I believe it ran away.
Good to go.
Okay, I'm going to move our trebuchet out. I kind of want to move it out into the side arc over here. At the same time, I kind of want to reserve it. So let's reserve it here. And that was that Marauder way back there. Okay, now our Shadowhawk can move up this direction. And I want to position the Shadowhawk about here. Firing into the rear arc of this hatchetman.
Copy that.
Firing those MRMs. I don't want to pursue too much further with the Shadowhawk here because these mechs are kind of dangerous to the Shadowhawk.
I'm receiving you.
But for now, that should be fine. Are we best off attacking the Orion in the front arc here? Probably, yes. I want to get a melee attack over here. 83.5% chance. What are these hit odds, though? We failed our sensor roll. Of course we did. Okay, let's hit our melee attack here.
Attack.
We did hit that, so that will help our rolls. Cool. Well, that's something, anyway. We made the Orion unsteady, and now we should be able to eliminate it relatively quickly with the rest of our units here. I'm going to move our crossbow into a slightly better line of fire here. And that is one very, very dead Orion due to an AC-10 ammo explosion. I like it. Okay, next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman could position here and go for the Ostel, but to be honest, the Ostel is going to die to the Centaur. So I kind of just want to make our way up over this direction and sink here for right now. The Black Knight can position out over here. I want to continue to fire on this hatchetman rear arc. We might stray shot our... Actually, I don't think we will at this angle. We did manage to hit up over here, but we did not end up hitting the hatchetman. That's okay. Next up would be our trebuchet, which I want to position out over here. And I also want to fire rear arc on this hatchetman. We're softening this up quite a lot. Okay. Next up is our Centaur. And the Centaur is going to position out over this way, going for the physical weapon attack into the rear arc of the Ostel, and the Ostel will die to this. We're just hoping that it doesn't have a core meltdown, because that could be really awkward in the Centaur's current condition.
For House Arano. Take that as a lesson.
Surprisingly, it didn't die to that. That is very surprising. Okay, so that Maelstrom moves up and fires on our Black Knight and ends up destroying this thing. What was that? Was that the hatchetman? I think, yeah, pilot lethal damage. It stray shot the cockpit of its own hatchetman friend. Remarkable. Okay, so that Hussar is moving up. Fires this LBX at our Shadowhawk. The Shadowhawk really doesn't care about that LBX shot. That is fine. And now this guy is available for attack. They're firing on our Centaur. They got 2 hits there. We might want to toss a little fire support out at this Ostel. The right leg is the weakened arc, and that is the arc that is facing our fire support out over here. But for now, of course, our hoplite wants to continue to drop artillery up over here and soften these guys up a bit. Not the finest shot in the world, but it does a small amount of damage there.
Yes,
okay,
Commander.
next up, I think the Rifleman... I don't like this interrupted LOS necessarily. I also don't like this position. Maybe if we position out over here
Copy that.
and fired at the Ostel.
Firing full complement on the enemy.
Okay, we missed literally everything there, but I guess that works. Okay, next up is going to be this Marauder, which is mostly just running around over here for now.
I'm ready.
Our Grasshopper needs to start moving up this way. However, I do kind of want to fire at that Ostel. Hopefully we don't stray shot our Centaur.
Primitive.
Upper leg destruction. I believe that'll be a knockdown. And that could kill the Ostel, or the pilot could eject. And that did kill it. Beautiful. Okay, so it is out of here. Next up is our crossbow, which can position here and have a direct LOS on this Centurion. And we can definitely start to soften up his armor. Excellent. That was a pretty decent armor softener, actually. We'll take it. And then our Shadowhawk is pretty overextended here. We can get into this cover.
Good to go.
And then fire on any of these. The correct option would be the Centurion. So we can continue to soften up that armor a little bit there. Injury resistance there. We actually got a head hit, but that's fine. Next up would be our Trebuchet. And the Trebuchet needs to position itself somewhere out over here. I suspect the Centurion is still the choice. Yes, that is indeed the case. So we'll continue to soften up that Centurion. It can't take too much more of that. But again, we're quite overextended with our Shadowhawk, and the Shadowhawk is kind of blocking this shot here. I'll still take it.
Firing on target.
We did not hit the Shadowhawk there, and we softened the Maelstrom with the large laser. Okay, sounds good. So next up is our Centaur. Now, I kind of want the Centaur to head up over here for now. We're not going to do anything really with it this turn. Now, Phase 19, they're going to move their Marauder, they're going to move their Hussar, and I don't think they're going to move this Marauder. But yeah, engaging the Shadowhawk here is reasonably expected. Luckily, they missed the ERPPC there. But they did tag the Shadowhawk, so the Shadowhawk might take some punishment here. As I said, it is a bit overextended. Okay, next up is that Hussar, which backs off, which is fine. We're going to probably be sending the Centaur after it. They're continuing to lob indirect LRMs at the Centaur and getting absolutely no damage done there. I like it. Next up is going to be our Trebuchet. And the Trebuchet really wants to stay where it's at and fire on the Centurion.
Got it.
Structure exposure there, and that Centurion can't take much more of that. So the crossbow can position up over here and continue to advance a bit. And we can fire on this Centurion. We might destroy it here, actually. And we did. Beautiful. 3 to go. So next up would be our Hoplite. And the Hoplite, what are we going to shoot at here? I feel like the Maelstrom is too close to our units. We could fire at the Hussar or at this Marauder. This Marauder is completely fresh, and we could start chipping that down. Yeah, a little bit of armor damage there. Not a lot. These shots haven't been phenomenal, but it's enough. So this Marauder moves up, and now I want to start bringing our Grasshopper in over this way. I'm just going to position it here for now, and we'll sink the heat. We don't have an LOS. Our Shadowhawk... Do we have ability to get into rear arc here? We do. But we can't kick from the rear arc. Oh, we can kick from here. Do it. This is a little ambitious. I don't necessarily expect a kill here. But if we get good aim here, who knows? We got a double heat sink destruction.
Reporting critical hit.
Okay, but I don't think we actually... Oh, we did penetrate the armor there. Cool. So that Maelstrom actually did take quite a lot of damage from that. Now, our Rifleman really can't get anywhere useful. We've got this outcropping here that's blocking a lot of LOS. The Black Knight would love to get somewhere where it can fire on that Marauder. Unfortunately, such a position does not exist. So we're going to position here and close in. Next up is going to be our Centaur. The Centaur can move up to be about here. And we can fire on this Maelstrom with our LRMs here. This is on its strong side, unfortunately. And I think we're going to avoid that for the time being. Now it gets to move right away, the Maelstrom does. Which is a little sad. But it positions itself there,
Waiting for orders.
which is intriguing. We're in indirect LOS with the crossbow here. What if we were to sprint? We could get a direct LOS with the crossbow from here. And this would be hitting his weak side. Do it.
I copy.
The Maelstrom is guarded, so it took basically half damage from that. But that's okay. Phase 19 is probably going to be the Hussar here, and then after that would be the Marauder. Yes, and that does indeed engage up over this way. Looks good. For the moment, our Trebuchet is going to remain exactly where it is and continue lobbing missiles into this Maelstrom. I would love to see it get
Tell me
licked.
what to shoot.
We didn't penetrate the armor there, but we're getting very close. Our hoplite here is going to continue to soften up their other Marauder. We got 0 hits there, and we fell down. Okay. Brick, I'm going to need you to get a little better at that. That was a very, very bad shot. No doubt about it. He actually resisted the injury, though, so that's good. That Marauder climbs the hill, but does not fire. Okay. So the Shadowhawk here can position in this rear arc, and we're going to do exactly that. We've already softened up this rear arc significantly. We could get a kill here. And so we did. Those machine guns, so good at crit fishing. I love it. So next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman is not in a position to do anything. We're going to sprint forward as much as we can, which is almost none, and that'll be fine for now. Our Grasshopper is going to close in up over this way and pot shot this. I don't expect much out of this, but if we do hit, it'll do a lot. Yeah. Not much, but it's fine. The Black Knight is going to also close in up here and do the same sort of a pot shot. Again, we're not expecting much out of that. And that's pretty much exactly what we got, was not much.
No joy.
That's fine. No problem.
I'll break him in two.
So next up is our Centaur, which can actually get itself up over here. Yeah, I think that here would be fine. And we'll fire on this guy. He's going to move anyway, right? So that's fine. We got a structure exposure there. He's not going to be happy about that. I want to see him move out over here. We'll see if he does. Smart move would probably be to pull back up here. Yeah, that's about right. But he's still quite vulnerable there, actually. How much evasive? Only 5.
How's it going?
Not too bad. I'm going to put the crossbow here, and we could... I don't think we'll see a kill here.
Taking the shot.
But we'll do some damage.
It's on now.
Couple of engine crits there.
I'm
Not
out
too
of
bad.
LRMs.
Yeah, we're definitely in kill range at this point of this Hussar. We could kill it with any of these shots, but that's an engine destruction. That did kill it. Beautiful.
Should've run when you had the
So
chance.
all that's left now is that Marauder. Fantastic. I'm going to take our Rifleman out over this way. We're going to use the Rifleman to capture the target zone.
Standing by.
And the Black Knight needs to advance up over here,
Roger that.
because we need to engage this Marauder, right? So that's absolutely fine. Our Shadowhawk is going to... We can actually get an LOS on it here and pot shot this side arc. We need to start softening this thing up, right? So we'll definitely do that. Okay, what's he going to do? This is the last remaining enemy unit. I'm not shocked about going for the Shadowhawk there. Yeah, we kind of baited that. That was pretty expected. And he failed his shutdown override from that? Okay, he overheated hard and shut down. I like it. Our hoplite can stand up. And since he's shut down, we should have a pretty easy time hitting him, although we don't. Okay, yeah, no visuals is +6. Indirect fire, stood up, weapon accuracy. Yeah, that's fine.
Confirmed.
This particular mech is going to have a hard time with it. We did hit one of those missiles, shockingly.
Ready for order.
Next up is our Grasshopper, and I want to position the Grasshopper about here.
Got it, Commander.
Pretty decent hit odds here. We're just aiming for CT.
Locking in all weapons.
Okay.
It's better me than Lady Around.
We did end up stray-shotting a couple of those missiles, but luckily it wasn't into our SRM ammo. That would have been very awkward indeed. I want to get our Centaur off into this side arc. And we're going to hit this Marauder side arc here. We're going to capture this target zone, which is possibly not ideal. But
I'll break him in
That was a lot of damage to this Marauder. It's not going to survive our fire support. I can tell you that right now. Like, we just did so much damage on this side. I love it.
Ready for
So at this point, our crossbow is not able to get into direct LOS. I was hoping it would, but it does not.
target acquired. Hell yeah.
That's another double heat sink destruction.
Take that.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Next up would be our Black Knight, which I'm going to position out over
I'm
here.
your spaniel.
And we're going to continue to fire on this Marauder's torso.
Punching all the buttons.
I think it could very easily die to this, but I don't... Okay. It does not have an
That
XL
is
engine.
good.
Noted. So we're going to have to do that damage to the CT. That's fine. At this point, our hoplite is not particularly interested in firing the artillery. We're just going to fire an LRM,
Roger.
something along the lines of that. There we go.
Let's do
Our
it.
rifleman is going to capture this target zone. There we go.
Report.
And our Shadowhawk. The Shadowhawk is going to advance up over to about here, trying to keep this line of fire clear. And we're going to fire on that CT. Okay, that's a lot of damage to the Marauder, but it did power back on. Of course, we get to move
I
again.
hear ya.
That's our Trebuchet. And we are going to move up over here and just continue to fire on this Marauder. Unfortunately, because he powered back up, we don't get a called shot there, unless we were to Warlord, which some of our units can Warlord now. So I'm going to put our Grasshopper here. This is not a unit that can Warlord, I think. Yes. And we're just going to fire on this Marauder.
Firing all weapons.
Mediocre shots there. Gyro crit, though. We'll take that.
Reporting critical hit.
Panic level critical on that Marauder.
For House Arano.
Okay. So now we just need to finish off this Marauder. Do we want to hit the rear arc? Honestly, probably not. I kind of want to hit this other side arc.
Affirmative.
Okay. So something about like this.
Follow my lead.
Pilot will probably eject pretty soon. Endoskill destruction there.
Punch right through his armor.
Okay.
SRMs are...
Pilot hasn't ejected yet, but the crossbow can position here and continue to lob missiles. This is a very likely a kill on the Marauder.
Check that secondary asset, Commander. It's taking fire.
Okay, there we go. That should be it. The area has been cleared. Fantastic. We are out of here. So that went pretty well, all things considered. And apparently we took damage from that shot on our Centaur. I don't think that's true. But whatever. I'm pretty certain that's not true. Unless the secondary asset mistakenly got onto the Marauder. I suppose that's possible. Let's see here. Carrying the data survived. Hidden kill op-4s. Actually, I think it did. I think the secondary payload there, we didn't get credit for. Okay, well, it doesn't actually matter. We weren't all that concerned about the payment, to be honest. But that's kind of wild. I think the secondary asset got onto the Marauder there. Weird. Okay, I'm going to call that a bug, but it doesn't matter. It's not very important. So that's all great. They want the Orion and the Austral. They're offering us this in exchange. Those are all hot garbage. And it's fine. I don't actually care about the Orion and Austral, to be honest. We could actually just straight up take the Flashman, almost. We couldn't quite. But we could take this Mad 4D Marauder. And that is really solid. Lot of FCSs and sensor basics in this, and generic heat sinks. I guess we'll get some multi-track FCSs and a Marauder. Sure, that's fine. So we get a jump jet, we get an LRM ammo Artemis. That's decent. But that Marauder is definitely something that we're going to want to put into service. It's a little late in the episode to get that actually set up, but that is definitely going to be a useful thing. No doubt about that. We'll get that set up in the next episode. I'm not expecting this to be too bad on the repairs. We didn't take all that much damage, the Centaur notwithstanding, and the Centaur isn't bad for repairs, to be honest. So that's absolutely fine. No major concerns there. And yeah, We're going to be putting a cut in here as soon as we know how much that's going to cost. And next episode, I want to get that... Do we replace the rifleman?
Mech is ready to fight, Commander.
It is mad, I tell you. No doubt about it. Okay, so we got 80k from that in damage. That's fine. 14 days for the repairs. It'll take a lot longer than that to get that rifle, or rather the Marauder, online. We might swap out the Rifleman for the Marauder. I don't know. We'll see. That is something we'll need to figure out in the next episode. Maybe we upgrade the hoplite. That's not a terrible option either. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.